Hey, welcome back to Cooking for the Hungry. I'm Papa and I am cooking for the hungry. Well, today we're going to do one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites, but this is truly one of my favorites. It's my 7 cheese lasagna. This is a lot of prep work. You get everything together and get it all ready, and then I sit down at the table and put it all together, and that's what I'm going to show you. My pasta sauce with beef is already pre-made. That's one of my secret recipes, and everything else is just about getting it together. So I'll show you the ingredients, and then we'll move on to getting some prep work done. Thanks for tuning in. Alright, let's talk about my 7 cheese lasagna. As you can see, it'll feed 6 to 8 people, or 2 people for 4 dinners. The tomato pasta sauce with beef, I call it 32 ounces of that. And like always, I recommend homemade. But if you can't, buy it from the store. I got 1 large packet of lasagna noodles. I can't endorse different products, but I would say this one starts with a B. And then 2 pounds of Italian sausage, pork or beef is available, and for fresh. Like in mine, I've got a lot of beef in my pasta sauce, so I cut that down to 1 pound. But if you're buying it from the store, it's not going to have nearly as much beef in it as mine does. 3 tablespoons of virgin olive oil, and I put 1 teaspoon of garlic in it, and I warm it up right before I start to use it. That gets the garlic flavor into the olive oil, and I use this like 3 different places. When I cook the pasta, what I do is I stagger it over and over so that it's not laying on top of each other completely. And I take and put a light coating of the olive oil with garlic on it as I stack it up. And I also use that olive oil for a light coating on the sides of the dish. Helps give it a nice little brown on the side, and it keeps it from sticking to the dish. And then I also use what's left over. We take and spread it on some bread with a brush, and it tastes almost like olive oil, but it also tastes almost buttery with a little garlic in it. And then there's some optional things that you can put in it, black olives, sliced mushrooms, and I would say a 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup to diced bell peppers. I would recommend the sweet ones, red or yellow. And then the following cheeses. I put all these cheeses in, it adds a really great flavor together. So 2 cups of shredded Colby Jack cheese. That's 2 different kinds of cheeses. That's Colby cheese and Monterey Jack. And 2 cups of cottage cheese. You can either use 4% or 2%. But I believe in wholesome food, so we use 4%. And then you want to get some shredded mozzarella cheese, a cup of that, and about 3/4 a cup of the dried Parmesan, or you can use the Parmesan Romano cheese. We like the Parmesan Romano. And then a cup of shredded white American or provolone. And today I'm using provolone and mozzarella cheese together, shredded. So I'll have 2 cups of that, and about 14 to 16 ounces of ricotta cheese. Ricotta cheese is pretty thick, so whenever I get ready to use that, I put it out in a dish and I mix a little bit of milk into it. That makes it easier to shake out onto the dish as you go. And I use a fork to kind of shake the ricotta cheese around, and then I use a spoon for the cottage cheese. So that's the basics of the ingredients. Not a real complicated thing. It's just a little time consuming. But when you figure it feeds 2 people for 4 dinners, that's worth the time spent. And talk about the tomato pasta sauce with beef. You think, well, that's really time consuming to make homemade. I made some the other day. I started on about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I put it in the freezer about 11 o'clock at night. That's like 13 hours. But here's the deal. I had lots of time in between. The sauce doesn't need to be tended for long periods of time. So I just went and checked on it off and on after I got all the ingredients in and got it cooking. And that ended up making enough pasta sauce with beef for 7 dinners. So you figure cut that up into time, and that's put away, and you can thaw that out and use it as you want. So that's pretty handy, and it's really, really good. You make homemade, you figure out your own recipe, you know, you'll gauge that a little bit. You make maybe 2, enough to make 2 things of pasta sauce, and test it until you get it where you like it. We really like ours. I've never had any complaints. A lot of people tell me they really like it. Again, homemade's always fresh. You put some TLC into this stuff, and some tender loving care, and put some time into it. It's well worth the time spent. Say this is a really fattening dish. Well, you know what? Whole food has got a lot of calories in it, but this particular dish has got a lot of protein. I'm big on protein, low on carbs, high on vegetables. So when I take a dish like this and serve it, I've always got some vegetables with it, a lot of protein, really good for kids and adults both. But you got smaller kids, they're big on texture. You know, you get toddler size, and some toddlers don't like that texture of cheese. So you may want to make something different for them whenever you serve this dish. So that's about that. I'm going to set up all the ingredients, and I set it out on the table here where I can put it all together. I'm sitting down and get it all ready. And so we'll move into that part of it. Once I get all the ingredients out here and get the pan ready and stuff, then we'll get started. I've got all my ingredients ready and all setting out. I got my lasagna noodles ready. What I didn't mention was I also use a little bit of this olive oil with garlic, and I go around the sides of the dish. It helps it keep from sticking. And the regular oil that I said, I also use that to paint the pasta noodles a little bit to help keep them from sticking to each other. They're going to stick a little, but not a lot. And we're going to be breaking some up. So I say let's get started. The first thing is the pasta sauce. That's got a lot of meat in it. I put a lot of beef in that, so I didn't put as much Italian sausage. There we go. Just kind of set it around a little bit. Alright, start getting our noodles in here. Peel right off. Going to be a short end. Always is. I've got some setting on another plate that were hazards of putting this together and cooking it. So I'll use those for pieces. Let's roll that down together a little bit. There we go. I'll use some of these pieces wherever I need it. I'll tear this down the middle if it'll let me. Sorta, kinda. Yep. How about that? That down that side, and then we start with sauce. And just kind of twirl that around a little bit. First thing I put on is some Italian sausage. You'll have to forgive me, I use my hands a lot. Kind of a hands-on kind of guy. Make sure and wash your hands good, of course. Put a little bit of that around. And I keep a towel over my shoulder. And then put a little Parmesan on here. Parmesan Romano. Yeah. Okay, looking good. Now we're going to go ahead and put the ricotta on. Now the ricotta, when it comes out of the container, it's real thick. So I take a little bit of milk and soften it up because I just kind of plop this stuff around like you see me doing right now. Because it's not spreadable. I kind of do the same thing with the cottage cheese. Now remember, a lot of this stuff is only going to go on 3 layers. So I put some cottage cheese on there. Kind of do the same thing. Time you get done, you got a pretty good layer of stuff here. Just stick with me. And we'll get through this real quick. Alright, that's enough of that. Now let's go with some Colby Jack. I like Colby Jack. Good stuff. I may have to dig out some more, who knows. This is mozzarella with provolone. And just to back up a little bit, whenever I made the noodles, made lasagna noodles, I cooked those al dente. What does that mean? Like, they're not too soft and they're not too hard. A little more Colby Jack on there. That's good for that layer. Now I go the other way. Oops. I'm making a mess. If you see me shaking and you say, man, he does a lot of sitting down, that's because I have Parkinson's and one of my legs is messed up pretty bad. So I try to sit down as much as possible to do things. It makes it a lot easier on me, and I can give my full attention to the dish. Turn apart. Something like that. Yes, I am making a little bit of a mess. I am a messer. But it usually turned out pretty good. So the reason I'm crisscrossing them this way is because it helps your dish slice up better. If you got them all running one way, when you go to cut them, it's going to be hard to cut. And you see me start piecing some things together. That's because that's what we do. But I run them different ways so that when you're done, it cuts up better. Okay, I'm going in for some more sauce. Sauce are up good here. I will not put sauce on the top. So this is our second layer. So I'm going to go on and get some of this stuff on, because I don't put too much on the top. You'll hear a lot of recipes and a lot of people tell you different ways of doing this stuff, but I cook mine on 325 for about 45 minutes, and I leave it uncovered. And like I said, different people do it different ways, but I cook it my way. Go ahead and get some of the Parmesan Romano on there. All right. Let's set this over here. Get some Colby. No. Get some of the ricotta on there first. I love this stuff. It cooks up so good in this dish. So you see how I'm putting it together. I'm going to leave a little more ingredients for the next layer. So what I'm going to do is take a break here, and we'll come back and see me finish putting it all together. I'll be right back. All right, finish that layer up. I'm going to put on next. This is the last layer of full layer of everything. Okay. Parmesan Romano. Good stuff. Like like I said, you can add things or put different kinds of meat. There is beef Italian sausage. I've seen that before. Let's see, get quite a bit of this in here. Get some Italian sausage in here. I'm not going to put any of that on top, so that's the end of that. There we go. Now we're going on with some ricotta. Last I'm going to use of that. Work just seems to work better in this. I don't know why. Yeah, that's some good stuff. Ricotta cheese, I love it. Alright, that's the end of that. Let's get some of my cottage cheese on here. And you didn't see me do it, but when I finished up that last layer, before I put the other noodles on, I kind of tapped it around a little bit, kind of smoothed it out a little. That helps. There we go. Just the cottage cheese. Just got to get to replenish the Colby Jack and the ricotta there. So I said I have a lot of it on hand, ready to go, because you never know. I've made it lighter, but this particular one I wanted to make heavier. So there's a lot. Leave a little bit to go on top. Here's some more of the provolone and mozzarella. There we go. And again, I'm going to do that again, kind of pat it out. I don't want one area to hump up more than the other to look nice. Alright. Now, I think we're going to lay it the same way on top. I just proved my rule, didn't I? Well, my last one, I tore a little bit, and got some pieces I'll put in here. There you go. Let's get some more meat sauce on here. This is my homemade pasta sauce with beef. Good stuff. There you go. Nothing like coming up with your own sauces. It's a good thing. Put my hands up a little bit. Get some Parmesan going on here. Don't be afraid of trying something new. That's the way we learn. Colby Jack. cheeses. And the rest of the provolone mozzarella. We've almost got it ready. The oven's preheated and ready to go. There we go. That came to there really good. There you go. Take a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Alright, wipe the edges off there. Alright, I'm ready to go put it in the oven. And when I get it out of the oven, I'll give you a picture of what it looks like. And I'll also give you a picture of what it looks like with a piece on the plate.